Chosen one, hold your peace. They're losing their mind, trying to read you. The loudest revenge is silence. The strongest flex is peace. And the cruelest answer is moving on without announcement. My dear chosen ones, listen closely. When a person can't decode you, can't control you, and can't access the old version of you, they don't just get uncomfortable. They spiral. Your calm hits harder than any confrontation because it forces people to battle with the one opponent they can't defeat, their own mind. And right now, someone out there is mentally pacing like they're trapped in a room with walls shrinking by the second, wondering how you walked away so unfazed while they're still replaying scenes like a movie stuck on repeat. You were never meant to match chaos with chaos. You were designed to outgrow it, and that's exactly why your peace feels like a threat. It isn't what you said that shook them. It's what you didn't say. It isn't the fight they remember. It's the fact that you never showed up to the battle they staged. They can't get closure because you never opened the door. They can't win because you're not even keeping score. And that, chosen one, is driving them absolutely wild. Some people expect you to react so they can measure their power. They rely on your emotions like a battery source. But when you unplugged, when you stopped letting their behavior dictate your mood, they had no idea how to operate. Their ego never planned for your evolution. They thought you would always explain, defend, plead, justify, soften, or shrink. But here you are, calm-faced, straight-backed, lips sealed, heart steady, and energy protected. Before we move forward, chosen one, I want to speak to you directly. If this message is hitting your spirit, your mindset, or your journey in any way, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support is what fuels the work behind these messages, the writing, the research, the energy, and the consistency. Every click, share, or comment tells us to keep going and keep creating content that speaks to your evolution, your power, and your next chapter. This movement grows because of you, and together we're building something unstoppable. Stay with us. You see, chosen ones are not chosen because they shout the loudest, but because they feel the deepest, see the farthest, and respond the smartest. Your calm is not accidental. It's the final form of every lesson that didn't break you. They thought they were watching your downfall, but what they were really watching was your transformation into someone who no longer entertains emotional ambushes. You ever notice how the quietest person in the room is the most intimidating one? Not because they're weak, but because no one knows what they're thinking, planning, or capable of. Silence turns into mystery. Mystery turns into power. And power turns into sleepless nights for anyone who ever tried to shake you. Right now, while you're focused on becoming the best version of yourself, someone is consumed trying to figure out why they no longer matter in your emotional universe. They refresh your social media like they're waiting for breaking news. They analyze your silence like it holds hidden codes. They wonder if you're hurt, bitter, or waiting for their return. But here's the plot twist. You already moved on while they're still rehearsing conversations that will never happen. Chosen one, your calm is not passive. It is strategic maturity. It means you know your worth so well that you no longer try to prove it in front of people who were never qualified to measure it. And while they crawl up mental walls trying to understand how you became so unshakable, you're quietly leveling up in ways they never expected. Questions might flicker through your mind. Did I do the right thing by staying silent? Should I have defended myself? Do they think I'm weak? Let me answer you right now. Your silence was not surrender. It was self-respect. You don't owe explanations to anyone who didn't value understanding you when they had access. And yes, they think about you a lot. Not because of who you used to be, but because of who you became without them. You represent what they could have had, what they underestimated, and what they can no longer touch. So, get ready, my chosen ones. When your calm starts making more noise than their drama, big things are aligning in your path. Your peace isn't just protecting you, it's promoting you. Keep that energy guarded, your standards high, and your silence powerful. The chapters ahead will speak louder than anything you could say with your mouth. Stay calm, stay focused, stay chosen. Chosen one, before we go any further, pause for a moment, because if this message is already speaking to the quiet strength inside you, then don't just watch, stay connected. Hit that like button, subscribe, and drop 99 in the comments if you know your calm has become someone else's chaos. Your engagement isn't just support. It tells us that your journey matters, that these messages are needed, and that you're part of a community built from resilience, self-mastery, and evolution. Stick with us, because what comes next will hit even deeper. And if you're truly chosen, you'll feel every word. Let's begin. Number 1. Calm isn't silence, it's hidden authority they can't decode. Calm isn't softness, it's silent fire they can't survive beside. The quietest person in the room isn't harmless. They're just too focused, too healed, and too evolved to lower themselves to chaos again. My dear chosen ones, let's make something absolutely clear from this moment forward. Your calm was never a sign of weakness. It was the first evidence of transformation. People who rely on emotional turbulence need loud reactions to stay relevant. But when they come face to face with someone who no longer bleeds energy into mind games, they panic. They don't panic because you attacked. They panic because you didn't. Your silence becomes their unanswered question, their unresolved ending, their mental cliffhanger. And chosen one, right now, someone out there is discovering the terrifying truth. Your calm was your power, play all along. They expected shouting, tears, storm energy, a meltdown, a dramatic scene. But instead, you gave them stillness. And nothing unnerves a chaotic person more than having no script, no hint, no emotional code to decode. They wanted to study your reaction like a language they could weaponize, and you handed them silence, which is a language with no translation. That alone destabilizes them. You see, chosen one, unpredictable power doesn't come from loudness, it comes from containment. The moment you stopped letting people push you into emotional responses, you stepped into a version of yourself they didn't prepare for. Your calm didn't say, "I don't care." It said, "I know exactly who I am, and you can't shake that anymore." Some people believed they understood you because they once saw you emotional, expressive, nurturing, open. But they forgot one thing. Growth isn't reversible. You learned the price of wasting reactions on people who only wanted to feel strong, not build solutions. You learned that not every situation requires a comeback, not every insult needs a reply, not every rumor deserves correction, and not every person has earned the right to witness your vulnerability. Chosen one, let's address the question that may whisper inside your mind. But will they think I'm weak for not responding? No. They won't think you're weak. They will fear that they no longer matter. Your calm becomes a psychological mirror reflecting exactly what they tried to hide from themselves. Their cravings for power, validation, and ego-driven satisfaction. When people can no longer provoke you, they are forced to face the emptiness of their own behavior. You're not ignoring them, you're exposing them without arguments, without shouting, without proving anything. You showed them how small their tactics truly were. It's like they came prepared with gasoline and matches, expecting you to hand them permission to burn everything down, but instead, they found rain. Not dramatic rain, peaceful, steady rain that simply ended the fire before it began. They didn't lose because you fought better. They lost because you stopped playing their game. Your calm is not numbness. It's emotional intelligence evolving into emotional discipline. You realize that peace is not something people give you. It's something you protect from people. And when your peace became non-negotiable, your worth became undeniable. Chosen ones are not born powerful. They become powerful through survival, reflection, and self-control. Your calm is built from every betrayal that taught you silence, every disappointment that taught you boundaries, every heartbreak that taught you self-respect, and every ending that taught you, not everything deserves my energy. People who rely on drama to feel significant can't breathe in environments where peace is the standard. That's why your composure feels like suffocation to them. It exposes that their emotional influence has expired. They can't predict you, they can't trigger you, they can't enter your mental space anymore. That's not coldness, that's graduation. And chosen one, understand this. Your calm isn't loud, but it sends a message that echoes long after you leave the room. I hold the power because I control myself. In a world where most people explode at the smallest inconvenience, your unbothered presence becomes legendary. They will talk about you without knowing how to describe you. They will try to explain you without having access to you. They will wonder what changed without realizing everything changed. Your calm isn't passive. It's strategic dominance. You're not detached because you don't feel. You're detached because you finally understand which feelings are worth expressing and which are worth keeping. Your peace is not a retreat, it's an upgrade. So never doubt your quiet strength, chosen one. Your calm is not the absence of reaction, it is the presence of self-mastery. And self-mastery is a language only evolved minds understand. Keep that calm, guard it. Wear it like armor, because nothing makes insecure people climb walls faster than realizing they no longer influence your emotional world. You didn't become silent because you lost. You became silent because you outgrew the battlefield. Number 2, your stillness becomes the storm they weren't prepared for. Your stillness isn't silence. It's a shockwave to their chaotic mindset. Chosen one, let's take a deep breath before we unfold this truth, because this realization is going to click in your soul like a puzzle piece you've been waiting to place. The stillness you carry, that calm, quiet, grounded presence, is not something average minds understand. It's not the type of calm that comes from avoiding life. It's the type that comes from surviving it. And when someone who thrives on drama, emotional manipulation, and mental turbulence stands in front of someone like you, someone who refuses to bite the bait, they are forced to face something they've escaped their entire life, their own inner chaos. You need to hear this clearly, chosen one. Your stillness has become their psychological trigger. Not because you're doing anything wrong, but because you're no longer providing the emotional reaction they depended on to validate their sense of control. Imagine someone walking into a room ready to start a storm, and instead of thunder, they are met with a silent, unmoving mountain. They expected lightning, they got peace. And now they don't know what to do with their hands, their mind, or their ego. Your stillness is not passive energy. It is the highest form of self-control, and people who cannot control themselves feel exposed in front of someone who can. When you stopped reacting, they didn't just lose an argument, they lost access, and access is the only form of power unstable people recognize. They used to poke, jab, provoke, gossip, manipulate, and trigger just to get something out of you. Anger, tears, panic, confusion, explanation, or emotional performance, but now that you refuse to be part of their self-created chaos, they feel irrelevant, powerless, and unseen. And that, chosen one, is what drives them into mental overdrive. They replay every sarcastic comment that didn't move you, every silent moment you offered instead of defending yourself, every time they expected rage and got quiet eye contact, every time they threw a tantrum and you responded with a slow breath. They realize they have no influence left, and that realization hurts more than any insult you could have thrown back. You didn't defeat them. You outgrew the battlefield. Your calm is not emptiness. It's clarity. A clarity that acts like a mirror, and people who thrive on chaos do not like mirrors unless they are flattering. They don't want to see their insecurity, their emotional immaturity, or their need for attention. But your stillness forces them to face those things without a distraction to hide behind. You didn't expose them by attacking. You exposed them by not participating. Your stillness leaves them standing in their own emotional noise with nothing left to blame but themselves. Chosen one, you need to understand how rare this ability is. Many people in this world are addicted to reaction, not resolution. They are more interested in winning emotional battles than understanding themselves. But you learned that peace is not found in winning arguments. It's found in refusing to attend fights that drain your soul. And your refusal didn't just protect your energy, it revealed theirs. Some will call it acting different. Some will say you changed. Some will call you cold, distant, emotionless, or arrogant. But what they really mean is, you no longer give me the emotional control I used to have over you. Your silence became the closure they never wanted but desperately needed. Your peace became the consequence they earned. Your growth became the reality they weren't prepared to face. So don't ever let anyone trick you into believing your stillness means weakness or detachment. If anything, the loudest people are often the most unstable, and the calmest people have mastered storms no one saw. You learn to sit with yourself, process your thoughts, control your reactions, and protect your energy. That's not weakness at all. That's mental evolution. And here's the twist, chosen one. They are not panicking because you're gone. They are panicking because they don't know who you became. Your stillness changed the entire dynamic. No more supply, no more emotional fuel, no more predictable reactions. And that silence didn't just frustrate them, it unraveled them. What you carry is not just calm, it's a psychological force that only people who have healed, learned, and elevated can possess. You are not quiet because you're empty. You are quiet because you're full of self-respect, stability, and awareness. So stand firm, chosen one. Your stillness is not the absence of power. Your stillness is power. The kind that makes unstable minds climb the walls, trying to understand how you became unshakable. Number 3. What they called disinterest was actually unshakable self-control. They mistook your stillness for disinterest until it hit them. You were operating from quiet authority all along. My dear chosen one, this is where the story twists and their delusion shatters like glass. You didn't shout, you didn't beg to be understood, you didn't wrestle for acknowledgement, and they took that as proof that you didn't care, or worse, that you lacked power. They confused your silence with absence, not realizing silence is sometimes the strongest presence in the room. You didn't rush to prove your point, defend your intentions, or perform emotional gymnastics just to show that you were engaged. And instead of seeing your restraint as strategy, they labeled it as indifference. They created their own narrative, built assumptions around it, and now they're the ones suffocating under the weight of misinterpretation. Because chosen one, what they interpreted as distance was actually dominance. You never lacked awareness. You gained discipline. You didn't check out mentally. You simply stopped responding in ways that benefited them. They wanted you animated, triggered, reactive. They wanted to watch you jump, defend, justify, unravel. But you stayed centered, watching with quiet intelligence. And now, suddenly, everything that once made them feel bold has them feeling foolish. They're realizing you weren't ignoring them. You were outgrowing the conversation, the tone, and the level they were operating from. When someone evolves and the other remains stagnant, silence becomes a scoreboard. Chosen one, you need to understand how threatening emotional control is to people who thrive on instability. There are individuals who need visible emotional proof in order to feel powerful. They rely on reactions because they can't rely on their own inner stability. When you didn't give them a performance to feed their ego, you starved the system they depended on. And now they don't know what to do with themselves. They never expected you to master the art of non-engagement. They thought they knew you, your patterns, your triggers, your heart, and your emotional buttons, but suddenly nothing works. They can't predict you, they can't manipulate you, and they can't track your thoughts anymore. Your silence has become a locked vault, and they are pounding on the door with no access. Understand something powerful. People don't fear what they can control. They fear what they cannot read. When someone can predict your reactions, they feel safe playing mind games. But when your calm becomes unreadable, their confidence collapses. They start replaying every moment, every message, every conversation, looking for a sign they missed. Their imagination becomes their punishment. And chosen one, that is how your calm transformed into authority without you ever raising your voice, changing your tone, or compromising your character. Your authority isn't loud, it's felt. It's the type of presence that makes people lower their volume without knowing why. It's the type of energy that speaks louder than confrontation ever could. Authority is not about control over others, it's about control over yourself. When you no longer hand your emotional energy out like samples for others to taste and test, you send a silent broadcast. I am no longer available for emotional manipulation. That is when they realize what they misjudged. You were never disinterested. You were done performing. Chosen one, the moment they understood that your calm was discipline, not distance, fear seeped in. The moment they realized your silence was strategy, not surrender, their confidence cracked. And the moment they saw your peace was self-ownership, not apathy, they had no idea how to respond. Their entire playbook became useless because their tactics depended on your reactions. When the reaction disappeared, so did their advantage. Your energy became untouchable, and that is where true power lives. Not in taking control, but in never needing to prove that you have it. This is why they watch you now with uncertainty, maybe even regret. They finally understand they weren't dealing with someone who didn't care. They were dealing with someone who operates from a level they never studied, someone who graduated mentally while they kept repeating emotional lessons, someone who learned that real maturity is responding only when there is value, not noise. Chosen one, your calm was never laziness or lack of passion. It was awareness, evolution, and authority in its purest form. The day they recognized that was the day the power dynamic flipped forever. They didn't lose because you fought harder. They lost because you stopped fighting at all. That is what true authority looks like. Unshakable, unbothered, and undeniably self-controlled. Number 4. Your presence exposes people without a single word spoken. Your presence is a silent mirror that makes pretenders tremble. You don't have to expose anyone. The truth bends around you and reveals itself without a single word spoken. Chosen one, it's time you understand something that has confused you for years. You don't make people uncomfortable because you are doing anything wrong. You make them uncomfortable because you exist in a level of authenticity they can't imitate or manipulate. Your presence alone is like a spotlight set to full brightness in a room where others were depending on shadows to hide their intentions, motives, and unfinished inner work. And when someone is used to operating through masks, illusions, or emotional disguises, the most intimidating force they can encounter is someone who isn't wearing one. You don't have to interrogate, accuse, confront, or threaten anyone. Your energy does the work without sound. There's a quiet certainty about you now, a non-performative presence that instantly shifts the atmosphere. You don't come in trying to be noticed, yet people can't help but notice. You don't try to read anyone, yet somehow people feel exposed. You don't seek power, yet you automatically hold it. Chosen one, this is what scares them. Your calm and authenticity acts like an emotional X-ray machine. You don't look through people intentionally. They feel seen, and that alone makes them restless. This is why some people talk too much around you, why they nervously explain things you never asked about, why they suddenly shift behavior or tone in your presence, why they seem extra defensive for no logical reason. They're not responding to your words, they're responding to the reflection your energy creates. And that reflection shows exactly what they've been trying to avoid within themselves. You must realize that many people build entire identities based on external perception, not internal truth. They survive through performance, not alignment. So when someone who is real, calm, unbothered and centered enters the room, it disrupts their internal system. Your presence reminds them of the very work they haven't done, the emotional maturity they haven't developed, and the self-awareness they've been running from. You represent what they wish they could be without having the discipline to become. It's not arrogance and it's not intimidation tactics. It's not superiority. It's alignment, something rare, something earned, something expensive. And alignment, chosen one, is silent but powerful. People can sense when someone is no longer driven by insecurity, competition, fear, or validation. They sense when someone is not available for emotional games or status wrestling. They sense when someone operates from a clear mind and a grounded core. And that alone feels threatening to anyone still depending on chaos, manipulation, validation, or ego-driven interaction. So when you walk into spaces where masks are normal, you become the quiet disruption. You don't call people out, yet they feel called out. You don't accuse anyone, yet they feel exposed. You don't judge, yet they feel judged, not by you, but by the contrast between their inner state and your calm authenticity. This is why certain individuals distance themselves from you without explanation. It's why some people withdraw, act cold, forget how to maintain eye contact, or begin acting strangely competitive or defensive around you. They're not reacting to something you did. They're reacting to who they are when they can't hide. To those who mistreated you, your calm is not forgotten. It is haunting. They know you didn't seek revenge, drama, or confrontation. That silence forces them to live with their own actions because you never offered them the emotional escape hatch they were hoping for. Blame, displacement, argument, or a dramatic scene that would allow them to feel justified. Instead, you left them alone with the truth. And the truth is loud when there's no noise to drown it out. Chosen one, your presence holds weight, not because your voice is loud, but because your alignment is real. People can sense you cannot be manipulated, provoked, or bought by ego-driven attention. They feel that your energy is not open for transaction, and that forces them to evaluate their own intentions. You simply being yourself does what arguments, explanations, and confrontations could never accomplish. It reveals. That is why people will either respect you deeply or avoid you quickly. Very few remain neutral around someone who carries quiet authenticity. You are not here to expose anyone, but exposure naturally happens around you because you are aligned with clarity, not illusions. And clarity is uncomfortable for those who survive on emotional camouflage. Remember, chosen one, your presence doesn't punish anyone. It just makes dishonesty impossible. Your calm isn't judgment. It's psychological truth in its purest form. Your energy does not attack, it reflects. And for someone who has built their identity on everything except truth, that reflection feels like a verdict. Number 5. Your peace was built from scars, not comfort. Calm isn't an accident, it's the medal earned from surviving silent wars. Chosen one, let's speak the truth others overlook. Your calm is not something you woke up with one morning like a random personality trait. It is not a trendy emotional skill or a surface-level positive mindset illusion. Your calm was forged, not gifted. It was shaped through nights that felt endless, decisions that broke your heart, losses that forced you to rebuild, and moments where life didn't give you options, it gave you consequences. You didn't learn calm in peaceful environments. You learned it in situations where emotional chaos became your unwanted roommate and pain was your most consistent teacher. While others thought you were simply quiet, detached, or too chill, what they failed to realize is that every inch of your calm was earned through internal storms that didn't leave visible scars, but reshaped the structure of who you became. You are calm because you've seen what panic does. You are calm because you've touched rock bottom, and instead of dissolving, you learned to breathe there. You are calm because you finally realized that reacting to everything is a luxury only those who haven't tasted real struggle can afford. People today confuse noise with power, but you discovered early on that true strength speaks in stillness. The loudest phase of your life happened inside your mind, not outside your mouth. Your calm is not avoidance. Chosen one, it's emotional precision. It means you choose when, how, and where to invest your energy instead of letting circumstances dictate your response like they once did. Yes, your calm is intimidating, not because it's cold, but because it signals survival without bitterness. That's what shakes people. Your ability to experience pain without becoming pain, to feel disappointment without turning into a pessimist, and to walk through endings without losing your ability to begin again. People around you don't realize that there was a version of you who didn't know how to stay composed, a version who reacted, over-explained, pleaded, and tried to make broken people understand what they never had the emotional depth to comprehend. But after enough betrayal, enough false loyalty, enough moments of being left alone with your thoughts, you learned the most powerful lesson of all. Your peace is not disposable. Chosen one, your calm is a weather system built from experience. You no longer chase storms because you learned that surviving them already proved everything you ever needed to prove. Others look at your composure and assume you must have an easy life, that you're unaffected, numb, or distant. They cannot fathom that your calm was not born from comfort. It was born from heartbreak that didn't turn you into a villain, silence that didn't turn you invisible, and pain that didn't turn you bitter. They don't realize that every time life tried to break you, you learned a new form of resilience, not the noisy kind, but the kind that stands, breathes, observes, and responds wisely. Some people misinterpret your calm as emotional detachment, but chosen one, you and I know the truth. You care deeply, just not recklessly anymore. You didn't shut down, you evolved. You didn't stop feeling, you stopped wasting feelings. And that distinction alone separates survivors from reactors. You no longer panic under pressure because pressure is not new to you. It is familiar territory. Your calm frightens others because it tells them they no longer have access to influence your emotional state. They can't lure you into arguments. They can't bait you with drama. They can't manipulate your empathy. And they can't win a battle you're no longer willing to fight. Your calm is proof that pain was not your ending. It was your transformation chamber. While others use their wounds as weapons, you used yours as wisdom. You became someone who cannot be shaken by temporary noise, someone who knows that silence holds answers louder than arguments, and someone who understands that walking away isn't weakness, it's choosing peace over performance. So stand tall, chosen one. Your calm is not the absence of pain, it is the confirmation that you mastered it. And that mastery is exactly what has someone climbing the walls right now, wondering how you became untouchable while they stayed triggered. Your calm is not just evidence of survival, it is the legacy of every silent battle you won. Number 6. You became the mirror that shows people their unfiltered truth. You became the mirror they can't outrun, outthink, or outsmart. My dear chosen ones, listen closely, because this part of your evolution is not just powerful, it's transformational on a psychological level. There comes a point in your journey where you no longer need to speak, defend, justify, or expose anyone. You don't need revenge, arguments, or emotional outbursts. Why? Because your calm has matured into something far greater. It has become a mirror. Not a physical one made of glass, but a psychological, energetic, and emotional reflection that reveals the truth about others, whether they want to face it or not. And chosen one, right now your very presence is making someone see themselves clearly for the first time, and they cannot handle it. They didn't expect your silence to have impact. They assumed quiet meant confused, defeated, unsure, or intimidated, but instead, your stillness became the one thing they couldn't argue with, manipulate, or twist. When someone tries to provoke you and you refuse to give them emotional fuel, they are forced to sit alone with the very thoughts they once used you to escape. That is the core of why they're climbing walls. They are suddenly trapped alone with their own mind, and it's not a peaceful place. A person who depends on chaos cannot stand a reflection of calm. A person who survives off emotional reactions cannot tolerate someone who refuses to respond. They wanted power. Instead, they got accountability. They expected to drag you into emotional conflict. Instead, they were left confronting the parts of themselves they've spent years avoiding. You didn't expose them. They exposed themselves through your lack of reaction. Chosen one, you need to understand the weight you now carry. Not everyone can handle seeing their own insecurities, motives, actions, and intentions reflected silently back at them. You didn't return their negativity, so all they were left with was their own residue. While they expected to throw emotional smoke and walk away unseen, they never planned on someone who doesn't absorb it. Your peace didn't swallow it, didn't react to it, didn't recycle it. It reflected it. And that right there is what separates you from the ordinary. You don't carry what doesn't belong to you. People who thrive on distractions avoid self-reflection at all costs. They run from silence because silence reveals truth. They run from calm because calm exposes chaos. They run from emotionally strong people because emotionally strong people cannot be controlled. So when you refuse to play the part they scripted for you, they lose the ability to manipulate the scene. Suddenly, their mind becomes the stage, and they become their own audience, one they never wanted to face. And what happens next? They question, they replay, they overthink, they spiral, they dissect every detail, looking for proof that your calm is fake, that you're secretly breaking, or that you're just playing a mind game. They can't accept the truth, that your peace is real and earned. That realization hurts them more than any revenge ever could, because the greatest discomfort a person can experience is seeing themselves through someone who evolved beyond them. Chosen one, you used to absorb what wasn't yours. You used to carry emotions that weren't your burden. You used to hold on to energy that wasn't meant for your spirit. But something inside you shifted. You stopped acting like a sponge and became a mirror, and that was the moment everything changed. Now when someone sends you negativity, it doesn't sink into your soul. It bounces back as a truth they can't escape. That's why they avoid you, stare at you, talk about you, or silently stalk your life updates. It's not obsession, it's discomfort mixed with fascination. They don't know whether to admire you, resent you, or try to decode you. They're torn between curiosity and insecurity. They fear your presence, yet can't detach from it, because deep down, they know encountering someone like you is rare. Someone who can stand in silence and still communicate power. Some will distance themselves, not because you did anything wrong, but because your energy is too honest for their unhealed identity. Others will stay close, trying to prove you haven't changed, hoping to trigger the old you so they don't have to deal with who they've become. But regardless of how they react, one truth remains. They saw their real reflection through you, and now they can't unsee it. Remember, chosen one, mirrors don't chase, convince, or explain. They simply reveal. Your peace is not a performance. It is a truth serum. And even if someone tries to run from it, they will always remember the moment they saw themselves without their mask for the first time. You didn't become distant, you became reflective. You didn't become emotionless. You became intentional. You didn't become silent, you became undeniable. That is the power of becoming the mirror they can't escape. Number 7. No one can outplay someone who no longer plays. They can't outrun someone who stopped running the race. My dear chosen one, listen closely. There is a moment on the journey where everything changes, not because you fought harder, but because you finally understood that true power is not proven in the arena. It is proven in your ability to walk away from it. When you stopped responding to chaos, stopped defending yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you, stopped trying to prove your worth to minds too small to comprehend it, that was the moment the entire game flipped. They didn't lose because you defeated them. They lost because you no longer agreed to participate. See, chosen one, people who survive off drama, competition, and emotional turbulence don't know how to function without an opponent. They need someone to challenge, provoke, measure themselves against, and emotionally drain. That chaos is where they feel powerful. But when you stepped completely out of the emotional boxing ring, they felt a shock they didn't expect. The fight they trained for, rehearsed for, and fantasized about could no longer happen. To them, your disengagement was confusing. To you, it was healing. They came with strategies, you came with self-respect. They brought manipulation, you brought boundaries. They prepared to compete with you, but you evolved into someone who no longer competes. And that is the kind of power that leaves people mentally pacing floors they once believed they controlled. You didn't lose power when you stopped reacting. You took it back. Every time you chose silence over argument, clarity over confusion, distance over disrespect, peace over pettiness, you were reclaiming territory they once benefited from. They weren't addicted to you. They were addicted to how you used to respond. And when you stopped giving emotional fuel, their entire identity in your life collapsed. Now they're stuck shadowboxing with their own insecurity, whispering to their ego, asking, why did they stop caring? Why are they so calm? Why can't I get a reaction out of them? Chosen one, your silence became their biggest confusion. Your peace became their greatest trigger. Your detachment became their unexpected consequence. You didn't just rise, you graduated. Because once you understand your worth, competing becomes unnecessary. Once you understand your focus, distractions become invisible. Once you understand your peace, chaos becomes laughable, and once you understand your growth, the past becomes irrelevant. People who once tried to shake your identity now find themselves rattled by your absence. They gossip, provoke, and watch you from a distance, hoping to see signs of emotional collapse. Meanwhile, you are busy building, healing, evolving, and living. That is why they are climbing the walls right now. To them, competition was the relationship. To you, self-elevation became the priority. They underestimated the power of someone who learns how to regulate emotions, because emotional control is a strength that cannot be manipulated, purchased, or threatened. And now, because they can't outthink you, outplay you, or outreact you, they are left competing with a memory, not a person. They are swinging at shadows, arguing with imaginary versions of you, and trying to win a game that no longer exists. And chosen one, let's address the question that may whisper inside your thoughts. Did walking away make me look weak? Absolutely not. It made you look untouchable. Fighting every battle doesn't make you powerful. Choosing battles that actually align with your growth does. You see, anyone can argue, anyone can shout, anyone can react. But not everyone can master restraint, because restraint requires identity, clarity, and inner security. When you realize that peace wasn't the trophy at the end of the fight, but the reward for never stepping into unnecessary arenas, that was the moment you won. While they're still checking if you're bothered, you're out here evolving into someone not even your past self would recognize. While they're rereading old messages, you're rewriting your life script. While they're trying to be seen, you're getting ready to become someone unforgettable. They can't compete with you not because you're better, but because you don't need to be. Competition dies where confidence begins. And you, chosen one, finally realized that your calm was not the absence of strength. It was the final form of it. Your peace became the scoreboard they can't change. Your evolution became the trophy they can't touch. Your detachment became the checkmate they never prepared for. You didn't just exit the battlefield, you outgrew the entire war. Number 8. Your calm shatters their logic and rewrites the power dynamic. Your calm scrambles their logic and breaks the rules they live by. Chosen one, lean in for this truth. Your calm doesn't just confuse people, it rewires their mental framework and forces them into psychological conflict they don't know how to escape. They were trained to believe that power must be seen, dominance must be heard, and strength must be performed. But when they stand in front of someone like you, someone silent, steady, unbothered, and composed, their entire mental blueprint collapses. They can't decide whether you're harmless, dangerous, silently planning, or 2 steps ahead, and that uncertainty becomes their own personal maze. Most people think authority is something that has to be proven through tone, expression, or volume. They believe influence is obtained by raising their voice, making noise, or demanding attention. But chosen ones don't operate on that outdated frequency. You don't need to convince anyone of who you are or what you're capable of. Your presence speaks before your mouth even opens, and that is why someone out there right now is mentally choking on questions about you. Because you don't fit the formula they were taught. They can't categorize you, label you, diagnose you, intimidate you, or predict you. You are the glitch in their emotional system, the variable they forgot to include, the unexpected factor that ruins their whole strategy. When you walk into a space with calm energy, you immediately expose how loud and dependent other people's confidence actually is. While they try to prove they're in control, you demonstrate control by not flinching. Your calm becomes the unspoken hierarchy, and even people who don't like you still find themselves reacting around you, quieter, more cautious, more self-aware. They don't know if you're observing them, evaluating them, or unaffected by them entirely. And that's what drives them up the walls. They can't tell what you're thinking, so they start thinking too much. They expected power to look like confrontation, but your version of power looks like self-regulation, mental clarity, and emotional discipline, a skill very few people survive long enough to learn. They expected you to compete, but you disengaged. They expected you to argue, but you walked away. They expected signals, but you gave none. They expected reactions, but you stayed collected. Now they're trapped between assumptions and confusion, trying to decode a calm that doesn't match their concept of normal. That's cognitive dissonance, when the mind tries to hold 2 opposite ideas at the same time. and you are the cause. Chosen one, your calm shakes people because it makes them question everything they once believed about strength. They think confidence must be broadcast, but yours is quiet. They think power needs witnesses, but yours stands alone. They think influence requires attention, but yours happens without effort. That contradiction forces them into a mental tug-of-war. They want to understand you, but they can't. They want to measure you, but there's no scale. They want to discredit you, but there's nothing to attack. So what do people do when logic fails? They obsess. They replay conversations. They analyze your tone, your timing, your eye contact, your body language. They wonder if you're hiding something, planning something, or simply unaffected. They ask themselves, why does this person make me feel uncertain? What are they thinking that they're not saying? How are they so calm when I'm trying to provoke a reaction? And the funniest part, they don't realize that your calm has nothing to do with them. It's a skill built from surviving storms they've never experienced. You didn't become calm because life cushioned you. You became calm because life sculpted you. Your calm was earned through pain, shaped through loss, sharpened through disappointment, and sealed with self-awareness. It's not mysterious, it's mastered. Your silence isn't empty, it's loaded. Your stillness isn't passive, it's focused. Your emotional neutrality isn't disinterest, it's clarity. You don't raise your voice because you know your energy already speaks volumes. You don't need the spotlight because your presence naturally becomes the reference point in the room. And while they scramble for validation, you sit comfortably in self-certainty. Remember, chosen one, people may not understand you, but they will always feel you. And when someone cannot define or predict you, you become unforgettable, not because you tried, but because they couldn't unsee the difference. Your calm isn't the absence of power. It's the evolution of power. And that is why they can't stop thinking about you. Number 9, they crave the reaction. You refuse to sacrifice. They're starving for the reaction you refuse to feed. There are people out there, chosen one, who don't thrive on peace, clarity, or maturity. They thrive on emotional turbulence. They don't just crave attention, they crave reaction, because reaction is proof that they still have influence, access, and emotional ownership. To them, your feelings were never feelings, they were fuel, and for the longest time, they truly believed they had unlimited access to your internal power supply. You were their emotional power bank, and every time you defended yourself, explained yourself, argued back, or tried to fix the situation, they walked away, recharged while you walked away, drained. They didn't want resolution. They wanted response, because response was their form of control. Some people operate like emotional addicts, chosen one. They know exactly which button unlocks anger, which tone triggers confusion, which memory generates guilt, and which silence forces you to explain. They study your heart the same way a thief studies a building, not to admire it, but to learn how to unlock it. And for a while you didn't realize that every time you reacted, you were unintentionally feeding their ego and validating their sense of power. It wasn't your hurt they cared about. It was your reaction to the hurt. But something inside you shifted. You stopped reacting, not because you stopped feeling, but because you finally saw the cycle for what it was. You realized that some people don't want solutions because solutions mean the drama ends, and without drama, they lose the attention source that keeps them emotionally afloat. That moment, the one where you started responding with calm instead of chaos, became their unplanned detox. They didn't see it coming. They thought you were still emotionally available for their manipulation, emotional baiting, and psychological tug-of-war. They assumed they could pull the same strings and get the same show. But when you chose silence instead of shouting, peace instead of panic, clarity instead of confusion, they realized they had lost access to the version of you that reacted, explained, defended, and absorbed. That's when the withdrawal hit. Now they're climbing walls, chosen one, not because you blocked them, not because you exposed them, but because your calm rewrote the rules of engagement. And make no mistake, emotional addicts behave just like any other addict when the supply is cut off. They panic, they push harder, they escalate, they test, they poke, they provoke, because they believe if they press the right trigger long enough, the old version of you will return. They're not searching for communication, they're searching for control, and since you're no longer reacting on command, their entire psychological strategy is malfunctioning. They replay conversations, study your silence, analyze your calm, question your detachment, and wonder how you moved from emotional availability to emotional sovereignty. Your calm has now become their greatest torment, because it leaves them with the one thing they never wanted to face, the emptiness of their own behavior. When you no longer react, they are forced to witness themselves without distraction. And that, chosen one, is a level of accountability many people simply aren't built for. Your calm didn't destroy them, it exposed them. Your silence didn't punish them, it revealed the truth. They were never trying to connect. They were trying to control. And now that you've mastered emotional self-regulation, they no longer have access to your energy, your vulnerability, or your inner world. They are left staring at the emotional door you closed, trying to understand why their old tactics don't work anymore. Some will call you cold, some will call you distant, some will say you changed. But the truth is, you healed, and healed versions of people don't entertain what wounded versions tolerated. You broke the cycle not by fighting harder, but by stop feeding it altogether. You finally learned that peace is not found in winning arguments. Peace is found in refusing to argue with people who benefit from your chaos. And now, chosen one, the tables have silently turned. They crave while you release. They chase while you grow. They overthink while you elevate. They spiral while you remain centered. Your calm isn't indifference, it's graduation. You didn't go numb, you went beyond. And now the silence they once mocked has become the silence that haunts them, because nothing echoes louder than the reaction you'll never give again. Before we wrap this up, chosen one, let this sink in. Your calm didn't just change the game, it ended one. You've stepped into a level where silence speaks, energy protects, and peace leads. The next chapter isn't about proving anything. It's about becoming everything you were meant to be without distraction. If this message resonated, like the video, subscribe, and drop 77 in the comments to confirm your evolution. Share this with someone who needs to be reminded that calm is not weakness. It's power in its highest form.